Welcome to Recreation Commission number 5, our May meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order and begin with our traditional land acknowledgement, which is that we acknowledge and respect the Indigenous peoples within whose traditional lands we are meeting today. Before you is an agenda that's been circulated. Are there any changes, reorderings, or discussions? If not, would someone have a mover? Moved and seconded. Seeing no need for changes, that's adopted. Do we have any changes or amendments to the minutes? Any concerns from those? Then let's move receipt of them. What?
Oh, just checking we have quorum, it's just 3 of us.
Yeah.
Gerald's not online.
We've got a roll here.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
No concerns about the minutes. Okay, those are the Newell, you had
I'd like to make a motion, reading the floor for the Nelson Sports Council representative, Andy Leafley.
okay, and do you have a second? Seconded, any objections? Seeing none, that carries. Welcome, Andy, again. Glad to have you back. Our delegates, I think we have a scheduling issue with our delegation that's in the agenda today. I haven't quite heard back from. I know they were talking about the drive-in, but I think they have a ball target for the next 3 or 4 days to actually achieve that. So we'll just assume that's okay for the moment and use this time to do a round of intros. I don't know if anyone doesn't know me, but my name is Keith and I'm the chair.
I'm Tricia Davison. I'm the General Manager of Community Services.
I'm Christy Calder. I'm the Regional Manager of Recreation and Community Services.
I'm Sarah Beer. I'm the Communications and Community Engagement Lead for Community Services.
I'm Ann Gillender. I'm the Nelson Facility Manager.
Can we go online for staff as well?
Sure, let's go through staff. Craig, would you mind?
Hey, good morning. I'm Craig Stanley. I'm the Regional Manager of Operations and Asset Management.
And Tia?
Good morning. I'm Tia Whaling. I'm the Regional Programming Manager.
I believe it's Allison. I just can't quite think of that. Alana. Can't quite think of that text. Alana?
Hi, I'm Alana and I'm a meeting coordinator taking the minutes.
Okay, great. And then to the electeds
Tom Newell, Area F.
and the other elected
Hey, Tate, City of Nelson.
and
Bill McDonnell.
Ray, our perennial attendee, and
Andy Lee with Nelson Regional Sports Council.
John
Dooley with Nelson Leafs. Corey Viola, President, Nelson Leafs.
amazing. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. That takes us right into our Nelson and District Community Complex update. Ann, take it away.
Through the chair, I will give you a quarterly report. I'll start with the background and updates. I'll suggest some general maintenance. We had an external leak repair on the rooftop unit RTU number 5. The main air handler unit, the main air handler had a glycol leak, and so the pool was closed on March 31st while the work was completed to repair the leak. The leak seems to be fixed. We haven't had any further problems. Elevator repairs, those are ongoing. We are challenged probably monthly by the elevator having problems. We had to close it down a few times. The service technician has advised us that we should be looking to replace the elevator in 2027 as parts are going to become obsolete. Refrigeration plant update. The work has caused some minor service disruption to dry floor programs due to some logistical needs. The contractor is preparing to close Lake Street alleyway to accommodate the work, and the laneway will be closed till January 1st. Some staffing updates. NDCC aquatic staffing currently sits at 85% of 2019 staffing levels. Staff availability remains variable at this time, and recruitment efforts are ongoing to ensure operational demands continue to be met. I provided a chart just with some overview of full-time, part-time staff from 2019 all the way to current. So due to some unforeseen resignations, there is currently a shortage of lifeguards and supervisors. We are interviewing currently to try and replace some of those supervisor positions. That is going well. Ongoing recruitment efforts continue to focus on leadership development. we have an aquatic leadership interview scheduled in the next coming week to replace a full-time position. Successful recruitment for an assistant manager has been completed. We have Mia Contini starting next week, June 1st, which will be a great addition to the team. I'm looking forward to that. Current job postings, we have CSR representative 1, group fitness, yoga, and aquafit, lifeguard and swim instructor, fitness technician. And then just some other information, West Kootenai Junior Lacrosse, Junior Lacrosse is they hosted their first tournament last weekend. It didn't go really well. Fortis BC, they had a free swim May 23rd, 6 to 8 p.m. It unfortunately wasn't attended really well, I think because the weather was just so nice, we didn't see a lot of attendance coming indoors. So some next steps and timeline, Gyro is scheduled to open beginning of July. The operation runs 7 days a week from 1 till 6:30. The paddle rental center is going to operate 12 to 7 p.m. Wednesday to Sunday. Summer camp recruitment is wrapping up. We're currently going through interviews. That seems to be going well. This year we have moved locations and the majority of camps will be held at the Christian School on the North Shore. A few camps will be held in Tagum and Lions Park.
Thanks, Ann.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Any questions? Kate?
Thanks so much. Last year we got some feedback that the paddleboard rental was closed on Canada Day, and that was just because it was on a non-usually open day. This year it's on Wednesday, so that seems to align with opening days. Will it be open?
I believe it will be open, yes.
Any other questions? I was curious on the lifeguarding and supervisory roles that we're looking to fill. Are we compensating correctly? Are we getting a lot of applicants? Is recruitment going well in that space as we continue to try and get that last 15%?
Yeah, it is going well. It is going well. It's always a struggle because of the age that we tend to hire for supervisors, and then there seems to be a turnaround just based on the fact that they head off to college and university. So we are continually recruiting from within and trying to help develop future leaders, and so that is going well currently. We're just in the middle of trying to make that transition.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thanks for that update, Ann. Let's move us on to our Nelson District quarterly programming update. I believe it is Tia. Welcome
Through the
back.
chair. Good morning, everybody. So today is the programming update for our winter season, January through March. And this will include our year-to-date stats for Nelson and District Community Complex. So one thing about, well, you all love my graphs, but I have a new graph for you today that does represent our expenses and our revenue a little bit better than the table that I had previously. So before I get into it, I just wanted to highlight and just explain a little bit about how to read this chart if any of you had any issues. The dark columns are the total budget allocated for the year, and the lighter shaded within that column is the amount that was either spent or in revenue collected to date. So this will be up until March 31st. And so as we go through the seasons, as we go through more updates, you'll see that shaded box get larger and larger, closer to the end of the year. So the overall snapshot for this entire season is that our budget is tracking as planned. Our spending aligns with seasonal patterns. You'll notice that, we don't have as much in recreation, but we tend to see that come out more in the summer as we have summer camps, where the bulk of our spending is and revenue for the year. In recreation, we had an increase of overall registrations for youth rec programs. We were at 58% capacity for 2025, and we were able to get up to 67% of maximum capacity for 2026. This we think is attributed more to short single session formats where we tried to keep more of a themed program. And we've talked about themed programs before in previous reports, and they tend to promote some better registrations. Parents are more apt to know exactly what their child is going to do during that time, as opposed to keeping things more general. Our non-themed Pro D-Day camps were actually canceled due to low registration. So hopefully this is an indicator that, keeping things more on a general non-themed basis tend to not do as well. So we will continue to move into themed areas for youth recreation for sure. Moving into arenas, we have strong participation in the arenas. Around 20 players per session that we'll see on the ice when it comes to some of our hockey programs. Our public skates remain wildly popular, and we have some themed public skates that we call glow skates, which is, simply just, adding glow sticks and things that glow in the arena, and we often hit capacity 90 to 100 participants. So that is it's going quite well in the arena. So we'll see how we do in the fall here. In fitness, we have stable attendance, around 11 participants per class. Sorry.
Are you good to take a question?
Sure, I can take a question.
Bill?
Hi, Tia. Yeah, it's Director Newell here, Tom here. A while ago, I said, hey, public skate, there could be more public skate sessions I've been hearing through the grapevine. As we get close to planning for the fall, I wonder what we're looking at for public skates.
Yes, through the chair, we did add public skate time in the fall for the morning on one of the days per week. So that was one thing that was brought to this table here. I can't remember when that was exactly, but yes, we did put that in the budget for fall to operate another public skate session during the week.
So that would be 2 weekday mornings, then I think, because it was Friday morning.
Correct.
In the autumn, so we'll have a non-Friday morning public skate.
That's correct.
Well, that's an improvement. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Hey.
Thanks so much. We kind of talked about in the past through the chair, this idea of not just having the 1 hour designated blocks, but the fact that the ice is in, and maybe considering trying to build a little bit of culture around like a drop-in skating, just like we have drop-in workouts and that sort of thing. I know in the past we've heard about dead ice, and I recognize that there is a cost to staff it, but I'm curious about having a little bit longer of ice times and or just a more patterned availability during the week. So if you build out public swim, like everybody knows public swim is like from 7 till 9 every day of the week or whatever it is, and something similar for the ice, it could take a little while to build, but it might actually put us in a better space in terms of cost per hour overall. I was curious if we could look to consider that.
Tia?
Through the chair, sorry.
Yeah, go.
Okay, through the chair. The thing with ice that's much different from the pool is that it is not a shared space. So there isn't opportunity to have other rentals come on the ice during the time that you would designate as, or what we would have maybe as dead ice. Yes, there is a staffing cost. Typically our daytime ice is not as well attended. A lot of our public times that we do have are not actually well attended, and that ice that we do have during the prime times is generally just not available because of all of the other user groups that are using the ice during those more desired times on, after 3 p.m. and on the weekends. So we have to really determine how we allocate ice during prime times, and then the non-prime times. I can't say that we would have enough attendance for us to pay for staff to actually be there to oversee the usage on the ice.
Correct. So my curiosity is around building that attendance and building that long-term understanding of the ice is available for the public during the week at this big block of time. And I know that the Saturdays from 3 to 4 or whatever are super popular, and like Director Newell said, there's a couple of other really popular times. But I have a curiosity around the fact that the approach is, well, we'll just close it then. It just isn't available because we don't have a lot of attendance and we'd have to staff it. So what about approaching it from the other side and it's open, we're staffing it and we're building that availability, we're building that, I don't know, popularity, that culture of, oh yeah, we can go skating. Just curious.
Yeah, through the chair. It's not a set time every week that we know when ice is available. It's very variable. And so to be able to let the public know when ice is or is not available, that would be part of a communication plan that we would have to look at. But certainly we can have the conversations and see if that's something that is viable.
Right. So right now, thanks so much for letting me just kind of play this out. So right now, through the winter, there's like 4 or 5 public skates, and then when you go on the schedule, you can see it's at this time on this day and this time on that day and then there's these gaps in the day where there's nothing. Right? Am I misunderstanding?
Yeah, through the chair. It's those times that you're seeing gaps typically are rentals. The ice is rented out and used. The schedule that you're seeing are just the RDCK programs.
Right. Okay. So then we're not having a problem of dead ice that I've heard in the past?
Through the chair, I don't know that there is a lot of what we would call dead ice during the day. There are patches and times where ice isn't rented, but it's not on a consistent level.
Okay. Is there any appetite for building out a more consistent everyday public schedule, everyday rental possibility schedule? Go ahead, am I misunderstanding?
Yeah, it's something we're working on.
Okay.
So it's not something that's currently available, but it's something that we're trying to work on to try to, so the public can see
Right.
what's available during the day and what isn't. When that is going to be available to the public, I don't know. It's something we have to work with our internal system, but it is something we're looking at right now to try to be more transparent on when ice is available for people, either to book it themselves or to just see, I guess, what is dead ice is a thing.
The schedule is such a bad phrase.
Yeah, like the schedules and the guides are really just showing like what programs we have available. It doesn't transparently show what program, like who else is rented it. As Leafs Playing is a private rental, we may not be able to share that specific booking details, but we can potentially see who is in, like if there's people in the ice or not in the ice. So
Well, keep
it's
us in the
something we're
loop.
working on.
So that's great. Keep us in the loop, let us know, because I think there is a demand for more public ice time that we have to navigate with the like tournaments and the users and all the things. Yeah, cool. Thanks so much. Thanks, Tia. Thanks for letting me dig into that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you still?
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
through the chair, super quickly, just to kind of build on what Sarah was just talking about. It's that balance between being able to be responsive to rentals. So rentals kind of fall into a couple of categories. There's like the groups that go, we know what our ice request is from, September till the end of March every year, and we're gonna play, Wednesdays at 4 till 5:30 every week. Versus there are many groups that come and do these one-off rentals as well. And so it's that balance of going, how much time should we block for public use, which is kind of where that public skate time comes from. The commission could direct us to direct more time to the public in there, where we're actually holding that space. And then what it's meaning is then we're reducing the ability to respond to rentals as well. So it's that gentle balance between having enough public access in a way, because I can appreciate what you're saying about part of the joy of people being able to go to the pool is that they can go anytime that it's open, as opposed to having to be blocked into this particular window. And so it's we could look at the balance of what the impacts of those could be as to trying to block more time, and then how we manage that time would kind of be part B.
Yeah, Thinking mostly about the non-prime times.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Keep on keeping on.
Okay, well, I think we've lots of heading on, so obviously we would like to see a little bit more formality into the future for reporting. Sounds like that's work in progress. Tia, I cut you off there as you were giving your report. Do you wanna pick up where you left off?
Yeah, through the chair, no problem. So in fitness, we have stable attendance, around 11 participants per class for our pre-registered programs. Then, and this is consistent with 2025. There isn't anything strikingly obvious that is different from the fitness department. In aquatics, swim lesson participation did increase from 2025 in the winter, up around 20 people from 242 up to 262 that we're seeing in 2026. The new participants that have never taken swim lessons with us in the past 3 years is down slightly from 91 down to 82. Pretty standard. There'll be fluctuations with new and returning people. So moving on into the user fees, revenue is higher than it was in 2025. However, visits are down about 2.6%. And as I dug into this a little bit further, I realized I was able to see that our membership scans were the culprit for why that number was lower. Our paid admissions were quite stable from 2025 to 2026. So people paying each time they come, that number kind of stayed the same. There were a few less membership scans than there were in last winter 2025. So that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on. Certainly there are fluctuations throughout the year, so we'll keep that we'll keep an eye on that as the seasons progress.
Yeah,
Yes.
does that translate into lower membership sales or just similar sales but people are coming in less per?
That's a fantastic question. As far as revenue is concerned, no, we haven't seen a decrease in revenue in membership sales, but I cannot give you the exact number of how many were sold in the winter. Unfortunately, there has been a little bit of a glitch in our software system that has been, it's a incident that I've reported to the software company that they're trying to get back to me on and trying to put a fix on so I can actually access that number. The report is just not pulling up for me. It's red error bars everywhere. So I wish I could give you better information about memberships other than just the revenue. I want to be able to tell you exactly the number that we sold. I just don't have that number that I can pull up in a report. Unfortunately for this time, I will. They're telling me that I will have that, should have that for next season that I can report on. So
okay,
revenue's up.
Good. Continue. Or is that it for your report to you?
No, I will keep going. Lastly is facility rentals. Facility rentals are up across most areas. This is just this is great. With the pool, we're seeing better numbers because we have some of our user groups at full capacity again. Room rentals are up slightly. Arena rental hours were up as well. Yeah, so we're doing quite well. Revenues quite a bit higher than it was last year. So as we move forward, we'll continue to closely monitor that revenue and visit trend to see how that progresses. We're going to track our membership use patterns definitely once I have better access to the reports that I need. And then we're going to expand our themed approach for programming.
Great.
Thank you.
We got a question at the table, Tom?
Tia, any clues to what's happening with the North Shore Hall?
Through the chair, I will need to investigate that a little bit further as to what's happening with the North Shore Hall. In order for us to give you a better answer, because we take bookings, we take bookings for that space. And I'll need to see whether or not that's coming from lower user group rentals or not.
I was really hoping to see that on that curve when I put the sound system in and, you know, we spruced it up. So it's a little disappointing to see it going down. So if I could just, or we collectively could just get a little bit of information as to what's happening there, maybe we need to publicize, promote, advertise.
Yeah, Tom's wondering if he can get a spinner.
Walk with
A spinner, you can stand on the side of the Johnson Road there on the highway, just let people know it's on. No, but like some communications maybe, or just making sure that people are aware of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it is a nice, I agree with you, I saw that too, it's a
No,
nice.
it was really in demand, and so this is, anyway, won't belabor it.
We have a question from Andy.
Yeah, so Tia, one of the things that I'm concerned about is the impact of recreation and sport with the current economic climates where people seem to be struggling with food on the table and so forth. But what I see from your report is that actually the demand for the services, rec services, is still strong. And if anything, in some areas is growing. Is that correct?
That's true. There's a general trend of either things are the same as last year or they are improving. Correct.
So people are still prioritizing sport and recreation at a high level.
Through the chair, yes. We see that in our user groups with the number of hours that they're booking in our facilities. And we're seeing that in our revenue for our admissions and memberships. They are purchasing, they're purchasing the things that they need to recreate with. But like I said, with the scans, they may not be using it as often as they were last year.
Thank you, that's good news.
It would be interesting to see once the census comes back, whether it aligns with the population change as well. If that's what we're looking at, is it just the population change? Curious.
Through the chair, I'm very excited for those census numbers to come in, let me tell you.
I love the census. It's so fun.
Okay. Great. Are there any other questions percolating from the table? Tia, thanks for these numbers. Look forward to those report repairs and those census numbers to come in so we can dig in further to the demographic changes. I will take us now on to the Community Complex Pool Summer Operations Update, also from Tia.
Through the chair, also from me. Yes,
Welcome
this is just a very short information report, just giving the commission the information of how we are making just a very slight adjustment to our summer pool hours. There's the information that we're providing today is not a change to our total weekly hours that we're offering from 2025. This is just a better alignment and improved clarity for our users. In 2025, we had an open time on our Saturday and Sunday times on the quarter of an hour. So either like the 10 or the 15 of an hour or 45 of an hour. And it was actually very confusing for our users. And so what we've done is we've made a decision to, on Saturdays, open at 10:30 in the morning versus the 10:45, and on Sundays opening at 11 as opposed to that 10:45 time. This, we realize, I mean, even though it is only 15 minutes, we realize that on Saturdays there is a higher demand in the mornings that we've seen in our usage patterns. And so we've made that shift so that we are opening on either the half or the top of the hour for the summers. No increase to service levels, no staffing or budget impact. And this will become in effect starting in July, for July and August.
Questions? Seeing none? I guess everybody, the report was clear. Thanks, Tia.
Thank you.
And let's take us on then to 7.4, Recreation Campus capital funding service process and impact. Tom?
I'd like to move referral.
Yeah, Cheryl is requesting referrals since she couldn't make it today due to unforeseen circumstances.
Could I word it as such to a future rec commission meeting?
Yeah, it should be referred to. Yeah.
The problem is I might not be here in June,
Okay,
so that wouldn't work.
a future.
And I couldn't find one in July.
Okay.
Which I think we said we were going to skip July and go to August.
Yeah, I think we're doing all rec in July, aren't we?
Oh, there's no work at the, in June, late June.
It was late June, yeah.
Okay.
So could I just say to a future?
Email. I think
Thank
the
you.
board made it pretty clear we weren't gonna do anything very quickly anyway. Can I have a seconder? Seconded. Any objections? All those in favor? Sorry, make you rush to.
Thank you.
Okay, that passes. We'll refer that to a future meeting when we can all be assembled. It's an important week for boards. And that takes us on to our correspondence. We have a correspondence here from the Leafs. We have representatives from the Leafs. Did anyone wanna lift that mural? Oh, mural, sorry. Flip my page already, I was getting excited. So we have the mural. We did do an email vote. Do we need to discuss this particular one? Craig, do you want to comment on the mural project that we all said yay to?
Yeah, through the chair, just an update that after the commission voted by email to approve the design as submitted, staff worked with the Arts Council to sign off on approving that through there. And I think the only detail we really have to get into is what that agreement looks like. So between their agreement and the RDCK's agreement, will land on something that makes it so we understand what's happening, and we have full expectations they'll deliver the work safely and succinctly. And so that is planned for early June. And so that design that they submitted will be painted in the location that they've specified just outside the ticket booth.
I'm not sure if we have to pause because we've lost quorum. Which usually doesn't happen, but you have to pause because we've lost quorum.
Just talk.
Yeah, so technically you should probably wait for
Okay.
Kate to come back, but you're not making a decision
Yeah.
for the moment anyways.
So.
Okay.
Thanks.
We'll just wait for our quorum to.
Sorry, yeah, 5 kids, my bad.
No, usually it doesn't matter. Okay, any other comments on the mural going up? Craig, I was curious about the maintenance. So typically when the Arts Council does more of their art festival stuff around the city, there's a maintenance agreement. Are we getting the same expectation here? Because this is coming under a different kind of project.
Yeah, through the chair, they've promised to, or so they've indicated they will maintain that mural for a period of time. I can't say if it's 10 years or more, but they did say for a length of time they'll maintain it.
Okay, go ahead, Kate.
Thanks so much. Does that include decommissioning at a certain time?
Through the chair, we haven't talked about decommissioning at this time. I assume that their intention and it was to have it up for a number of years, if not up to 10 years. So we could probably have the decommissioning conversation at a later date. The decommissioning of that mural could be done simply by our staff if the board directs staff to by simply painting the wall.
What I'm curious about though is the process and conversation around at what point?
Expectations.
Yeah. Some
Yeah,
expectations.
through the chair, we haven't had that conversation about it. I think that if I did a quick email scan, I could tell you the exact date. Maybe by the end of this meeting, I can tell you what they were thinking about for the life cycle of that mural.
Great, yeah, or even if we have a date for the conversation of whether or not to renew. Because I think that's important with some of these. Thanks so much. Yeah, let's make sure that's in the agreement. Please.
Yeah. I think it's good to ensure there's an understanding amongst all the parties, including the people being honored, that this is not a forever thing. Or it becomes, oh, I thought you were trying to ask.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I think you've heard that conversation. Anything else about the mural, which will be lovely once it's up and on the wall? Quite an improvement to the front. Then that takes us into correspondence. We don't have to revote that, do we? Or sanctify our email vote of some kind?
No.
Yeah.
No.
That takes us into our correspondence. We have anything that anyone wants to lift here for discussion? Tom?
Both of them.
Okay.
Just if I could, prior to 9.2, could you explain what's going on with your,
Yep.
not disrespectfully,
No,
like
100%.
I just, I
That's why it's
didn't
there.
see what an RFP was and
So
if you could.
during the course between our last meetings, the city of Nelson put out a request for proposals for the Civic Studio space to the community, and I noted within that letter on behalf of commission that the way the timing of that RFP was, there was never an opportunity for this commission to discuss whether or not it was in alignment with what we were doing, and I was flagging that for the process. So that was, I consulted with staff on what expectations were there and put that forward on our behalf, just to say that we couldn't even weigh in on it.
So what's,
The process has been awarded to a community group for 3 years. What was,
it's kind of moot?
it's moved. It was,
Got it, okay.
it was just a point of process.
Yeah, no,
for us
I'm
to
not from
have
the city
such
that
a-
already has gone through their process.
Yeah.
But it, through the chair, it does bring up a good conversation for this table that I think percolates from time to time is like, at what point do we negotiate with other governments around taking on additional facilities for public use? Because this table is already set up to provide best use and optimize those spaces. So there is a curiosity around that, like at some point, so for example, Mary Hall is something we talk about gym space all the time, and I know there's conversations ongoing, but at some point, either the RDCK, which is us, is taking on additional facilities to provide additional recreational opportunities, or it isn't. And so that's a bit of the part of, I mean, it's capital and whatever else, but this opportunity came up of an additional space that maybe the RDCK could have leased it, and then that, you know, the booking system that's already in place could have been used, for example. But we don't have a good system in place, like we've got a weighting rubric, but it's so touchy politically to take on new things and take on new taxes and take on new requisitions, and yet people want more. So this is like just reminding us that sometimes opportunities come up and we are not built to respond to them yet.
That was the purpose of the letter.
Thanks.
I'd
I'd like to lift 9.2,
thanks.
just
Does all the heavy lifting.
to see, even though our policy is clear that we don't, could you explain what the process is to approve something like this by a
For those on
user of our facility?
staff,
Sorry.
this is for the renovation of the dressing room request for the lease.
Yes.
Oh, so we've moved on from the facility conversation.
Unless you wanted to just.
Oh, you wanna,
I was lifting 9.2, but 9.2 is still.
And I'm just soapboxing,
Well, and
so
I was
no
like,
response
yeah,
needed.
sorry, through the chair, I was thinking that we were still talking about processes to take on new facilities. So could you please repeat what the next step, where we're at? Because I was in a different headspace.
Yeah,
okay, so, yeah, so there's a little soapbox and then we understand we need to have those conversations and that's not for today. And so moving on to what we do have, for the lease request on renovating the dressing room at the ADCC prior to coming season and attached a plan. So question coming is how do we go about, considering this request?
Yeah, so through the chair, maybe I'll defer to Craig, because Craig has been in conversations about this, and I know that we've also done some consultation with other staff within the RUCK, so I'm going to turn it over to Craig through the chair.
Through the
Okay.
chair, so we receive requests like this from time to time. We currently have at least two. I think the Castlegar Rebels have submitted a request and now the Nelson East has submitted a request, and it challenges staff to determine the best practice for these types of projects. So we need to assess these requests based on the scale and the scope, but also the risk and the benefit. Given that the RDCK will be the owner and the maintainer of the improvements going forward, whether or not they're used by the proponent or other groups, we will be the owner in perpetuity. So given this work is being proposed for public facilities, there are stricter requirements, including requiring the services of architects and engineers, and depending on the extent of work, certainly a contractor. And so recreation staff are required to align with administrative best practices. We can't set our own rules to maintaining our facilities that are in our portfolio. So we've consulted with administrative leadership, even just recently on this, to confirm what the process could be, given that there's no roadmap to this. We discussed a number of scenarios, including allowing the groups to perform the planning, design, and construction, which is what the Nelson Leafs have suggested, that they would be responsible for raising, incurring all costs and performing the work, including the hiring of an architect and engineer, given that there could be some structural work required for this work. And then procuring the construction contractor to do this work. And that presents a set of risks that the RDCK is not currently able to mitigate. So our work with corporate administration includes things like risk assessment and insurance and those types of conversations. So the model described by administration is that the preferred model, I would say, is that these groups should could donate the funds to the RDCK, and then the RDCK would perform the various phases of the project. Most importantly, and certainly the Nelson Leafs, if they were to hire an architect and an engineer to design something at their expense, then the RDCK would have an agreement for the funds to perform the permitting and the procurement and the construction and the closing of that project. And so that's what we're working with right now. And so the Nelson Leafs and the Castlegar Rebels and other groups that currently have similar requests will be given a similar response as far as the process. And this, laying that out that way, it could be a deterrent unintentionally, given that there's an additional time required for that, but that is what the process will be for this particular scenario.
So at All Rec, we have had this conversation, a similar conversation around hockey before. Is this something that should be having a discussion at All Rec where all the requests are being and all the facilities are being represented as opposed to here at this table?
Yeah, through the chair, that conversation, and that's another, I didn't really dive into that piece, but the fact that with the Leafs and the Rebels and the Thundercats in Creston, those agreements have all expired. And so staff do endeavor to come to the All Rec committee with recommendations to go to the board for similar looking and working contracts with those, given that there's been a bit of a shift in junior hockey in our region. But we do intend to come back to the All Rec committee and then the board at the July meeting with recommendations. But that also underscores a risk in this particular situation, because we don't have a long-term agreement with the Nelson Leafs currently. We intend to get there, but those types of improvement to the property language is not something that we're currently endeavoring to put into the agreement. I mean, it is something we could consider that, but we want to make sure that all groups have the same opportunities to provide benefit to their group. So, long answer to a short question: the process for the junior hockey teams is to come to the All Rec. This conversation for requests for improvements could be considered in that, given that they're all making similar requests.
Well, and my line of thinking is maybe even if we don't end up on finalized language for improvements in those broader agreements, maybe there is some tweaking there that can allude to the fact that improvement agreements are possible, and then the agreements themselves can be hammered out a little bit later. But maybe we could get just to move this down the road a little bit more, just contemplate within that new agreement structure, and then we can lay out a process ahead of it.
Yeah, through the chair, I'll make mention of it in the report to the All Rec committee and suggested language for those 3 agreements.
Okay, great. Kate?
Thanks. Forgive me, did we receive the original letter and proposal? Because unless it got buried for me, I only see that one email on page 34.
Yeah, through the chair, I think I was waiting for something, and I apologize to the Leafs if I missed it, but that was the initial request that came in from Mr. Dooley on behalf of the Leafs, and so that's what was submitted for correspondence. But the and I can describe the process, the plan when I met with Mr. Dooley and in the dressing room is that they intend to push the wall of the shower in about 1.5 meters to make room for the dressing room, and so it's a very a pretty substantial shower, pretty substantial wall. I don't believe it's a structural wall, but there is mechanical water and electrical and other mechanical equipment in and around that wall and ceiling. So there is a lot to consider. But that is the gist of the request. I apologize for not having those details in the submission for correspondence.
Okay. Do we want to do freedom of the floor for Corey and John, in case there's anything you guys want to bring? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Second.
I can pass, but I have a question.
Yeah, so we'll go to Kate and then
Thanks.
John, Corey, if you guys want to speak something after Kate.
Thanks so much. Craig, can I say it back to you so that I'm understanding? And Keith, I think also said it back, but I just want to get it in my head. Right now, there is no existing, is it a lease agreement?
Through the chair, it's a facility use agreement. It's not a lease agreement.
Okay, so, and we're looking, it sounds like through Keith, that we're looking to modernize the language so that there could be an opportunity for improvements based on that facility user agreement. I'm curious, are there other exemplars of lease agreements so that then you could adopt leasehold improvement language, and that might simplify all of this?
Through the chair, the fact that it's an interesting point in time for us, because we have leases with other groups in Creston. We have a physiotherapist upstairs in this building that has a lease, and that is a proper lease where they pay a rent and they have exclusive use of that space. The facility use agreements are for non-exclusive use and seasonal use of various spaces, and don't consider things such as rent on a per square foot basis. So the Nelson Leafs have access to their dressing room during the season for free. And so that was, at the time of the inception of that agreement, and the continuous recycling of that is considered to support the Nelson Leafs. But the fees that they pay are essentially for the ice rental. And so that all of that other language inside of leasehold improvements would be specific to lease, but improvements to the property is considered and has been considered. Certainly the Nelson Leafs donated and paid for the sound system to support their organization that the RDCK now owns. And so there was that was added to the previous agreement, where there was a schedule of payments to compensate the RDCK for the upfront capital costs. But there is a possibility that that language from leasehold improvements or facility improvements could be added to identify, as per the chair, future processes related to improving our property.
Corey?
Thank you very much, Chair Kate Page. Just first of all, just give you a brief little history. A number of years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, we had an advisory group came through when we were looking at going into the Junior A Tier 1 level. Part of that advisory group was to look at each and every component of the Nelson Leafs, that be financial, community background, as well as our facilities. Part of our facility that we actually ranked quite low, and we've known it to be a problem for a while, was our dressing room size. The problem that we have is that with the length of it, we have individuals or players that are sitting in certain areas. And unfortunately, when a coach does like video training with the players, those players can't even see, because then you'll have players that are sitting in front of them, along with having an obstructed view of where the video monitor would be. So it's a very simple thing that we would like to do to give us some additional space. And believe it or not, it actually is a problem with doing recruitment, as far as teams or players making a decision whether they're coming to a team like Nelson or even like Grand Forks, where they were able to do a huge modernization of their facility or their dressing room. So that's one of the reasons that we're wanting to do this. And of course, we do have a short timeline to get this into place, if we're able to get you guys to agree to it. Obviously, we're looking at possibly being able to utilize the dressing room after our main training camp, which I believe is the last weekend in August for our main camp. So we do have a short window here, so that's why we were hoping that we could get some sort of agreement with the regional district and move forward with trying to get this done. I understand, Craig obviously has made some good points as far as some mechanical stuff that is situations that are there, but I believe it's probably a pretty simple situation and could be done in a short matter of time. So we appreciate your time on that. And I've got John here with me as well. John can.
So on that note, we did explore it a little bit prior to coming to you. And even before we talked to Anne or Craig, we had Trainer Mechanical in there who were the original contractors on the project, and we also consulted with Martech Electric. And in both cases, it was fairly simple, the adjustments that had to be made by both mechanical components. The electrical, it's a simple shift of a couple of fixtures in the ceiling of the shower stalls. And on the mechanical side, it was a case of decommissioning 3 shower heads. There is a sprinkler that has to be moved as well. So that's all been reviewed. And we've also engaged with 9 Design Engineering. And we would like to put them to work, but without an agreement at this table here, at least some indication that we could potentially move forward. We're going to bear a lot of costs just hiring an engineer to make sure we're doing the right thing and doing it to code. So that's why we're here today, is to try and move this project forward if we can.
Okay.
Oh, in closing, and you'll see the letter here on the back, we are bearing the cost should we get permission to move forward. We're not asking for any funds from the commission or from the complex to get this work done. We have savings that we accumulated for this renovation, and we'll spend that on the renovation.
Okay. Tom?
Just curious, having heard that, do any alterations need to be done to the visitors' dressing room vis-a-vis your part of junior A?
We don't believe so, because the way they're set up with the rooms conjoining each other, there's plenty of room because they tend to use 2 dressing rooms when a visiting team comes in. So generally what happens, it's a little different with your home facility or home dressing room, because that's where you end up doing some of the work, like I said, with the video conferencing with the players. So when a visiting team comes in, they'll utilize 2 dressing rooms, and then when they chat, coach, whatever, they all move into one physically, and all their equipment is left into the other.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Go ahead, Kate.
Thanks so much. Craig, is the risk that we don't have a good system in place to say, yeah, just go for it, your money, and then the improvement is to the facility and it benefits the community? And if we want to embed this for all 3 facilities, as the language gets hammered out, what's the risk in the meantime of a little bit of building the plane in the air in this case, because you're on a timeline?
Yeah, through the chair, I think that, and certainly appreciate the Nelson Leafs initiative and their motivation and bringing their funding to this project that will, benefit their organization, but also, we could say that it's not going to have a long-term impact on the use of our facilities, making that shower smaller. It's a large shower and gives them more space. So I think there's great benefit to them and to us. The challenge I've described is that doing work on a public facility like this is at the discretion of the board, given that it's a board facility, board property. And so we have to apply the same principles and the same processes that the board would apply to other facilities, not just recreation facilities. And that's where we're at in community services, is aligning with the process that administration has lined up for us. And in the past, it could have been where a recreation commission could make a decision about who gets to use what space in their facility. And it could even be mentioned in some of the bylaws, depending on when they were incepted. But right now, the process isn't as clean as that. And so through the chair, it really is about how we allow for groups to make improvements to any RDCK property, not just a recreation facility.
So it sounds to me so far like we'll be seeing this again at All Rec next month.
Could we, take a recess?
You want to recess?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, just.
okay,
Before we close this issue.
Second.
okay, we'll do a recess.
Thanks.
We meet the boardroom,
10 minutes, okay?
10 minutes.
Great.
Sorry for that break. We're back from recess. Is there anything else we want to discuss on this item?
Could I just clarify?
Clarify.
that This, potential of this project is moving forward. Just timing, we're just.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
So it's not a no, but you heard Craig clearly outline the process. So thanks very much, Chair, for that recess, just so I could get some offline clarification.
Sure. John, I saw your hand.
Thanks very much to the chair. Would it be possible to get the board to give us agreement in principle to move forward from this stage? Our timelines would be ideally to get the work done if everybody was agreeable this year, but if it were to be done next year, that's fine too, because once we enter into an agreement with an engineer, we're right off the bat staring down the barrel of thousands of dollars just to get that information. And we'd also want to engage a contractor that can look at it and give us an idea of what the total cost would be. All those things cost money, and if we don't have some certainty around it, it's pretty difficult for us to put that capital forward. So if we had some kind of guidance from the commission today that agreement in principle that this is a good idea, it's possible, and to work with staff to try and accomplish our goals. And if we can't meet the timelines, then fair enough, but at least it would put us in a position where we could take this project on in next spring and get it done in that time period. But just to add to that, through the chair, keeping in mind that, you know, when you apply for these permits, there's a certain window of opportunity to use them. They change on a regular basis. So if you have a 12-month delay, your engineering drawings could potentially need to be redone again, etc. So we just need some certainty around it. And I overheard your conversation about what happened in Trail, and I think they come up with a very good arrangement there with a private partner to renovate dressing rooms, fitness centers, etc. at the facility, and it worked out very well for both parties.
Go ahead, Trish.
Yeah, and just to add to that, so through the chair, I don't think anybody's saying there isn't a path forward. I think we need to, we're building the path as we go because it does not exist within the regional district right now. So part of it as all the agreements are coming back up for discussion, that could be the opportunity to bring in corporate administration and other partners into what is the language that we even need that can better support these conversations that would then lead to that in principle conversation to say, yes, we can move forward with this type of work. And so there's just work to be done to get there. And that's why I think the August timeline is just not reasonable for what we would need to do in order to support moving this forward. But I do think it will come, and Craig doesn't know I'm looking at him, but I'm looking at Craig. But there's part of this conversation can come as part of those more global agreements that are being reviewed across all three of our community centers with the junior hockey group. And Craig, I'll just throw it to you if you have anything you'd like to add through the chair first.
Yeah, through the chair, I've definitely heard the conversation, and as I said, I think for us in community services, some of these seem straightforward, and certainly, you know, could be considered simple, but there is an administrative challenge that we have. Timelines are important, and I agree that there is a path forward. It at this point it doesn't appear to be in 2026.
Okay. Can I ask Craig though, when we get to all rec, can we contemplate an agreement in principle there?
Through the chair, staff will do work with other departments in the regional district to determine if that was, I mean, we could make the recommendation for the benefit of the community, but I think that we'll have to consult with other managers to ensure that what we're saying aligns with best practices, yes.
Okay, so it's not a directive, but just, I think this is a conversation for next month. Was your hand up?
Yeah, just to respond to Mr. Dooley, I actually don't think it would be wise to give an agreement in principle at this table. And the reason for that is the things you said after that, because then if you invest in engineering and the process ends up taking too long, you'd have to reinvest. And not only that, we want something that is consistent across the region so that the language is there and that we can move forward in a good way, like the trail, for example, like on an ongoing basis. And so even though it's a bit unfortunate timing wise, I think that this is the better way forward for that longevity of the agreements and that longevity of like ongoing sustainable development as needed, depending on regionally what we're looking at in terms of rec and for other groups as well, like you're kind of paving the way.
Okay,
That's all.
I think that's where we,
So
is it something substantially new?
what direction were you intending to give staff?
The direction we've given staff currently, and we're expecting to see this come back at all rec next month.
And I think on what you just mentioned, Kate, it's important, it's an interesting scenario with the rink because the pressure comes off when things sort of roll along the season. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in April and you're deciding to do a renovation to be ready for September. So even the months, if we were to be postponed now and not make this happen this year, we couldn't afford to lose these months in planning and getting our project on the table. Because we need to hit the ground running next spring rather than having this conversation next spring again.
100%.
And finding out that, well, it's a year after that, so.
No, let's work out the language as quickly as possible. And if something can happen in the fall because people can juggle, maybe, and if they can't, then spring. I think we're all on the same page, quite honestly. Corey?
First of all, I just want to thank you very much for your time on this. We'd love to have some clarity on it so that we can move forward, so I do appreciate that. I did have one other question. It was just a quick question, if I may, with the commission. Craig and I, we've discussed this a number of times, and it has to do with the concession. And I just wanted to ask a timeline because I understand, unfortunately, I was told that they wanted to, or you guys want to put it out to an RFP out for proponents out there. Obviously, it means the concession means an awful lot to the Nelson Leafs financially. And all I'm looking for is a timeline when that RFP will be released, because we do have some plans that we need to move forward, and we need to do that now before the season starts, similar to what happened last year.
I hear you. Craig, you got a timeline?
Yeah, through the chair, I was meeting with staff, sorry, apologies, didn't get back to Corey, Mr. Viala. But we are planning we have 2 concessions that are currently, the agreements have expired or will be expiring. And those will be coming out for public offering. The ideal is to have multi-year use or multi-year contractual agreement with a concession operator versus month to month or year to year. And so that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Couple weeks, 14 days or less?
Through the chair, we endeavor to, we want to have this if we can get it at the July board, to have this concession services agreement, which is required to have board approval, not just commission approval. At the July meeting, worst case, it'd be at the August meeting, but we endeavor to get it to the July meeting. So we, without letting too much go, we certainly are trying to get those RFPs out the door in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Corey. Okay, that takes us on to public time. Bill, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I do, and there's too many to cover at one meeting.
Yep.
And
good time.
I hope you appreciate that. I will look at it, but this is only the second meeting of this year. And a lot of things have came to front. I sent a list to Sarah and I haven't received any response to it. There were a lot of questions in there as to philosophics. I know some of them are philosophical, but I think they lend themselves to maybe a situation like you're discussing now with what are we going to do with these facilities? How do we want them to look? And what our responsibilities are, both as Trish mentioned too in one email, that your responsibility as a board is made to provide space. A lot of things happen within those spaces and having a greater look at that. I mean, I asked the same question 20 years ago, what do we want this facility to look like when it opened in 2025? And we're still dealing with some of those issues, so I'll leave it at that. I don't want to interfere with that. The only, I have a question about the studio that you're alluding to, that, is that the former dance studio in the
Yeah.
Civic Center?
Yeah.
Had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was when that happened. So if I may, and to a question that Kate asked, is the commission considering taking over
It's
programming that space?
No.
Okay,
No, but the city has done its own RFP. You can look up Civic Studio Space. There's an RFP, a full package the city put out. There were 2 proponents. I don't think we've released who was successful, but there will be a community group in that space to suite.
okay.
And they'll be doing public programming, so you can go participate in programming in that space. And it's quite a beautiful space.
I appreciate
It
you.
has air conditioning for the first time in its life. It will be a wonderful space.
No, the reason I asked is because one of the groups that wanted to use that space was told that they couldn't use that space. So that's why I was wondering why that was the case.
Yeah, the city is entering into an agreement for that space. So the only point of that letter was, from commission's perspective, the timing of that RFP on the city side didn't give commission an opportunity to discuss it. That's the only point of that letter.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Public time?
I just have a question.
Go ahead.
And it's, excuse my lack of awareness. When you talk about all rec, I don't know the difference between all rec and this.
I'll touch on that too, because Bill, I think this is an important aspect or nuance.
Well, that-
Thanks, Andy. Is while we have only met twice, the RDCK board directors coming together to talk about recreation, that's happened 4 times aside from their commissions, because we are meeting, these all recs are happening quarterly. And it's everyone, all the board members across the district, across the complexes, talking about the principles of recreation as a whole. And so some of these bigger conversations, especially with junior hockey, have been happening there, because that's where all the partners are there.
Thank you.
So we
Okay,
end up,
it's public time, not Q&A time.
we end up with
I know
12
we,
recreation meetings a year,
yeah,
but 4 of these are transferred to all rec.
that's right.
Yeah, are there items on the all rec committee? That's where I got lost. I thought it was a commission. Only found out recently it's a committee, and I found their minutes and agendas. Are any items on the agenda all rec not on an individual commission agenda?
Yep, like we'll discuss fees and charges, bylaws at all rec, so that there's a consistent formula across the district on how we allocate nonprofit, public time, private time. We'll have that discussion at all rec and then implement them inside the service, as opposed to debating them here.
Okay, if I may, and Trish,
There could be a lot of time, we have extra time today, but yeah,
well, I hope, because I'm on last meeting.
I know.
You had a report, and I don't have it right here. You gave a verbal report, at least the written report wasn't in an attachment, on the vision and mission
Yes.
of Sports and Recreation.
Yes.
Is that document somewhere? Because I don't recall it ever being on at this level of.
Yeah, so through the chair, it's a really good example of a topic that would go to all rec. So if you think of the all rec meeting as topics that largely impact the entire recreation service across the district. So things like fees and charges would not make sense to discuss at the Rec 5 commission
Yeah.
meeting.
No, I
because-
appreciate that.
Right, so and so you'll see things like leisure access, was discussed at all rec. We often provide like kind of a larger synopsis, like Tia's team would often give like a bigger picture of what's going on in the programming world of things that might be impacting different services. But the vision and mission, and then we have a goals document that also supports that. I believe should have been in that package. So if it wasn't, I can share it with you.
It's not, and that's why it led me to that question, okay, if there are gaps here, how does the public? Because there's, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the goals of the campus review was better communications to the public, more involvement by the public, and those communication gaps are there. And so how does the public kind of follow through that? And I personally, I don't believe it should be, they should be there. That should be something that's pretty, well, as you say, transparent to the public.
Okay. I'm not quite sure I captured your question. Do you want to rephrase it?
No, okay, the question,
Just want to be sure.
I mentioned at the last meeting, I think if you want the people, the public to be aware of what the commission is doing and its function, then that sense of communications to the public, and I've been saying, why don't you communicate more widely spread of how these meetings are held, when they're held? And I still haven't seen an improvement in that area. As I said to John one day when I was doing, the people of Nelson know who the mayor is and the council. How many people, if you surveyed, would know what the commission does?
Yeah.
And I think, to me, it's important, and I think it's important as a previous question, is that if the public is using their facilities so frequently, that's an important. I was told that people, by a doctor that just moved here, that this community, in her sense, values their health and welfare greatly. And that's great, that's all good. But if we can keep moving that needle forward by communicating, then that would be best.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Appreciate the comments.
Just one last one, and it pertains a little bit to what we brought to the table. And I think the commission, and Bill touched on it a little bit, doesn't get the sort of recognition that other committees get, for instance, the board or council or whatever the case may be. But the responsibility that you have is great, because it's about the health and wellness of our community and how our youth grow up and how they're able to play soccer or go to the gym or go to the pool or go to the arena, etc. And we don't talk enough about the value that you bring to the table when you have these meetings and these discussions about how you can make your facilities grow and prosper and be better than they were the year before. And it always seems to get back down to the cost, but there's an amazing value that comes from the work that you do at this table. And it's not just focused on the arena either, by the way, and sometimes it gets kind of lost in the shuffle. And last but not least, the economic impact of the facilities and the places that you manage and have responsibility for stewards, as stewards of those facilities, is enormous for our communities, all the way from the Cusp to Salmo to Creston and into Nelson and Castlegar. And I think we lose sight of that sometimes when we're talking about the cost. We lose sight of the value, financial value to the hotels, the motels, and businesses downtown when a tournament happens, and the value that it brings to our children and the attracting people to our community to want to live and work and play for us. So thanks very much for the good work you're doing and your staff, and thank you very much to Craig for meeting with us on short notice and helping us to work through this process.
No, thank you for all your good work. Okay, we've got Be an Observer online. Were there any questions from the internet? Hearing none. I have a motion to adjourn. Big Lifter, seconded, we're done. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your work, great.
Yes, ma'am.